promises to be very promising and alluding to what may happen in the playoffs. Coming off of a big win against Atlanta this week, the Vikings have once again proved themselves to be the best team in the NFC, if not the NFL, and the seedings now show that, Dirk.
Yes, they do, because we are the number one team in the National Football Conference!
Certainly something to be excited about heading into this podcast, as is the fact that we completely shut down the best offense in the NFL in the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, first off, let me just say I'm Dirk Umbenhauer because we needed to introduce ourselves.
Yes, and I'm Nathan Schulte, but that is neither here nor there. We are now talking about the great team that is the Minnesota Vikings, and that is the first-place team in the NFC.
Yes, shut down defense all day was really the story of this one, folks. A 14-9 slugfest down there in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, and the offense came in with a very conservative game plan, and it proved to be a successful one after scoring 2 touchdowns, one in the first half, one in the second half, to win the game.
It's almost as if Mike knew the defense was going to do very, very well today.
And that's one of the keys when playing this Atlanta Falcons. You have to have a very, very good offensive game plan. And I think Mike Zimmer went in coming in saying, well, we're not going to be the Buccaneers.
No, and we're not going to be the Seahawks or anyone else who's lost to the Falcons this year either. Get this, Nathan. Minnesota doesn't barely outgains Atlanta, 312 total yards to 275, but the time of possession is what matters. Because conservative game plan will get you the time of possession. We held the ball for about 8 more minutes longer than Atlanta, and especially on that final drive where we got the ball back after Matt Bryant missed that field goal, and the Falcons never got it back. That was a key drive.
Classic Matt Bryant. Oh, wait, not classic.
No, he's normally good.
Yeah, so good for us. You know, we got in his head. We had that skull chant going in their home stadium. We made the Atlanta Falcons look like a bunch of idiots. And we made a lot of other teams in the NFL look like a bunch of idiots. When you consider the fact that the Seahawks let the Atlanta Falcons, pass all over them. The Seahawks got destroyed by the Falcons, and the Falcons were playing them in the Seahawks' home stadium. Lo and behold, what happens to the Philadelphia Eagles when they go there, Dirk?
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles get destroyed.
Yes, but more on that later. Now we need to talk about this Atlanta game. The offense, they put up a decent performance, but the defense was what was really strong, as we already said. Though I will say, we did not have our best day defending the run, Dirk.
No, we did not, Nathan. We allowed 102 rushing yards to Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, both ending with man in their last name. And both had very good days on the ground. They averaged 4.6 yards per rush. Devontae Freeman, coming off of a concussion protocol, 74 yards on 12 carries, and Tevin Coleman, 8 carries for 22 yards. But the key was, Nathan, while they did get some big running plays, and they also got a couple nice pass plays down there out to their backs, heading towards the sideline.
Yes.
We did not allow them to get into the end zone, and largely because the roads were closed, actually, today.
That's true, and, on statistically wise, that the running numbers are not that good, but you never want to see 100 rushing yards, and I felt like every time I looked up at the game, they were running right through our defense again.
Well, Nathan, that was kind of true. I felt the same way. When I learned in the midway through the fourth quarter they only had 90 rushing yards, for some odd reason I was like, wow, I thought they had 190, because it just felt like that. But I think if Atlanta looks back at something they did on this game, they might have said, we might have passed too much. And Atlanta also blew it with some stupid penalties for holdings and false starts, especially.
Yeah, for the most part, the run game was working, and you have to think a large portion of the reason that is true is because they were so focused on stopping Julio Jones, which they completely did. Though Xavier Rhodes was on him almost solo most of the whole game. But I think we got a feel for their run game. We had a few good stops at the end of the game where we just completely shoved up the gaps and we stopped them.
Yeah, and Nathan, you get to that point on Jones. I said roads were closed. Literally, roads were closed, and Jones would have been better not showing up for work today. 2 catches for 24 yards only. That's pretty good by Xavier Rhodes in the secondary to hold a receiver who just torched Tampa Bay for over 200.
Coming into this game, I think all the analysts were saying, except for us, obviously, were saying Atlanta has the better stats going in offensively than Minnesota has defensively, and I think Atlanta's streaks will continue. Atlanta was first in third down conversion on offense, and we were first on defense for not allowing third down conversions. Well, Dirk, guess which one carried over?
The one that held Atlanta to 1 of 10 on third down.
Yeah, and you're thinking, oh, well, that doesn't sound right, because what about that one drive? Well, largely penalties, largely conversions on second down, even a conversion on fourth down that led to some of those scoring drives that got them downfield. They did not convert on third down. We shut them down. And another thing that they had come in, Julio Jones versus Xavier Rhodes. Well, Julio Jones is way better. He's gonna put up big numbers once again. He's just so good. And Xavier Rhodes, he's a little bit overrated. Well, wrong again.
Wow, it's almost like we should be getting paid.
Yeah, Dirk, we are quite good at predicting good things to happen to the Vikings.
Hey,
is it because we're good or because we're getting lucky this season?
I think it's a mixture of both, but I'm going to lean on the side of good, Nathan. Herm Edwards is leaving ESPN. John Gruden might be leaving ESPN.
Oh, where's John Gruden going?
Maybe he might be the head coach of Tennessee or in the NFL again. And Herm Edwards is for sure going to Arizona State. That's 2 football analyst spots opening up. We just need to find a third one for Isaac.
Well, Isaac can stay on the small page like he's been doing. I think that's where he strives.
And you know who also strived on Sunday on defense? Even though they didn't get a sack, our pass rush.
Yeah.
And while we didn't get the sack, Everson Griffin got in there a couple times. We forced Matt Ryan outside the pocket, and Matt Ryan is not a super mobile quarterback. So as long you don't have to sack him, just make him feel uncomfortable, and they're not going to be able to make those throws. That was a key in the fourth quarter to make sure they did not score a touchdown that would have possibly won them the game.
The Vikings indeed did that. So it was overall just a great defensive performance against what many people were saying was like one of the best offenses in the NFL, who hadn't like quote unquote hit their stride this season. Well, if they haven't hit their stride by now, I don't think they ever will, because they got completely shut down by us in their home stadium. I don't know how the favorables could have been more on their side. I mean, Xavier Rhodes even got a little bit banged up in the game. I think he was on the sideline at least once.
Yeah, one play he was on the sideline. He was a little banged up. I think it must have been cramps because he got right back up, got right back in the play the next drive, and there was no concern after the game from Mike Zimmer.
And one of the reasons that Xavier Rhodes was like, oh, well, he's not going to have that good again. I look at what he did against Marvin Jones last week. Well, here's what I'll have to say about that. Xavier Rhodes, there's a certain level of receiver that he has to have it at that level for him to respect them and to treat them like how he would treat them and shut them down. And let's just say Marvin Jones isn't anywhere near that. So that's why you saw the production, because he just doesn't respect him. And he never will, because Marvin Jones is a bad receiver on a bad team.
Very interesting take. But also I think what's key there is that there will be no bad number one receiver in the playoffs in the NFC or the AFC. AFC teams, we assume, would make the Super Bowl, if we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here. So, good news for Xavier's play. Also, what I liked about this defense is we mentioned all year, they don't get a sack, they don't force a turnover, but they hold a top-rated offense to just 9 points.
And, yes, and we had a very solid day on offense. Case Keenum completing 25 of 30. Not that that's really ever that. I mean, that's a really good completion percentage. He didn't do anything outstanding, but he threw for 2 touchdowns that we really needed to win the game. And he executed Pat Shurmur's game plan to almost perfection.
Very clutch in the second half, Nathan. A perfect 13 for 13. And if I remember seeing right, that's the first time a quarterback has been perfect in the second half since 2006 of any football game.
Wow, that's impressive.
And including the big play of those second halves, the nice little pass pattern to Kyle Rudolph. He fakes the out route, he goes and runs a post, wide open, beautiful throw by Keenum. And the other one that basically won us the game, Adam Thielen, while he was shut down pretty well, actually, only 4 catches for 51 yards, which for Adam Thielen is not a big day.
Yeah, he didn't have a great day, though. He was missed many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
Which we'll talk about later. And it got wide open on the slant pattern, caught it, ran for another extra 15, 20 yards, basically sealed the game there. Case Keenum had a good afternoon again with 227 and 2 touchdowns.
And for those of you who might not be looking around the league, the Vikings are now 1 win away from securing their victory over the division after the Lions get completely and utterly trashed and destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens. They played bad and they looked bad and they just got wrecked.
But a person who didn't look bad, Latavius Murray, 16 for 76 on the ground. I'd say our run game was more consistent, Nathan, than it was against Detroit, where he had that one big drive and everything else was the stuff. More consistent, 3-4 yard gains, pounding it.
I think we broke 100 yards rushing again, right?
105.
105. So, not obviously our best week running on the ground. And Jerick McKinnon has struggled to find his stride that he had the first few weeks after Dalvin Cook, was injured. And so I don't know if he will find that stride again, if maybe now they're giving Latavius Murray those plays that they think are going to work, and that's why that's happening, or if he's missing holes. It's hard really to say with Jerick. But it's nice to still have him because he does provide more of a speed element to our game.
And who knows? I mean, Mike Remmers is coming back at right tackle. Zimmer said today that he thinks Remmers will play against Carolina. So he's our best run blocker, Nathan. That would be a key as well.
Yeah, Mike Remmers has been out, and it's not been that bad because Rashad Hill has been pretty good in his place. So we have not missed him really that much. But one could assume that when you get your starting right tackle back, that, well, things are probably going to get a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, Rashad Hill has played well. That's no doubt about it. We're not dissing on Rashad Hill. We're not going to criticize. But Mike Remmers, maybe not as good of a pass blocker, but I think a better run blocker, Nathan, would be key. And
here's the thing about Rashad Hill. He's truly more of a left tackle. And he's playing right tackle because he still is our best option at right tackle. I think Jeremiah Searles was the backup at right tackle, and is he better?
Yeah, he's healthy.
I mean, we don't really care because our offensive line is healthy this year, so we don't even notice that these backups are getting better. So I think Jeremiah Searles would be actually slated in that slot, but Rashad Hill is still a better option. So that's I think why we're seeing that. But Rashad Hill is definitely very good and a good talent to have on our team, just if anything for the depth, but potentially to fill in that left tackle spot someday. Though I still think we should consider drafting an offensive lineman in this draft.
I think so too, Nathan. But final thing on the offense here, I have to give credit to Atlanta. They were down 2 cornerbacks, and they still held Thielen to 4 for 51 and Diggs for 2 for 32, which was a lot worse numbers for both our 2 receivers than I was expecting. I thought we were going to pick this Falcons defensive secondary apart, just like you pick a cornfield.
And granted, maybe we could have, but I think the whole plan going into this game was to have, maybe not so many big plays, but to keep control of the clock so that we keep the ball away from Atlanta and keep the pressure off our defense. The thing about the Falcons' defense is they are very fast, and that showed, and that was one of the reasons. But, you say, all these receivers had big yards. Case Keenum still threw for, 250?
227.
227, and the reason that he did that was because he threw to so many people. Nine different receivers had a catch. That's always big to see that.
And also, final note, here's 2 other good notes. One, good note, we kept Matt Ryan to under 200 yards passing. Ryan only had 173, 16 for 29 throwing. And Nathan, we were not getting our extra points blocked this week.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, seriously, hopefully that was like a one-time blip that they got it figured out now and it never happens again, because if we have extra points and field goals getting blocked in the playoffs, I'm not saying that we're going to be in tight games every time in the playoffs, because I think this team is good enough that we can get up by a lead and maintain that lead in all of our playoff games. I think that's actually a possibility. And so hopefully it doesn't come down to the field goals. But should it come down to the field goals, that cannot be a problem that Kai Forbath has to be thinking about.
And Nathan, if it came down to a Kai Forbath field goal to send us to the next round, I will be sweating more than I was sweating on our run today.
Yeah, Dirk, if it came down to a Kai Forbath field goal, I would say, well, there's a 25-75 chance that we go to the Super Bowl. 25% chance being that we do, and 75% chance being that we don't.
I cannot disagree with those odds.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where we are with our field goal situation. I would not be opposed to drafting a field goal kicker first round. I think that's a very valid pick.
Yes, and Nathan and I in the offseason will analyze those kickers and we'll tell you who we should pick.
In the first round of the NFL draft.
Whoa. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. First round picks should never be used on kickers.
Wait a second. You're right. We might need to trade for a higher first round pick to get it.
Whoa!
Oh, wait. We're kind of sounding like the Chicago Bears now.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan, do you want to trade up one spot and give away 3 picks for a bad quarterback?
Ha! Well, at least he was proven. Oh, wait.
Proven to throw for 100 yards and a pick a game.
Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky. Too bad. I call him a worse Aaron Rodgers. And, another sad thing that happened in the NFL this week, the Green Bay Packers could have been all but eliminated with the loss to the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers almost pulled it off. They almost did us a huge solid. They take the game to overtime, and they blow it.
And now we have to rely, Nathan, on the Cleveland Browns to end any chance of Rodgers playing football this season.
The Buccaneers and Jameis Winston have once again choked. And, man, that loss would have been nice because we would have the Green Bay Packers far in our hindsight. And now, granted, my friend Noah, who is a Packers fan, does believe that Aaron Rodgers is not coming back for the Panthers game. So, that's going to be a tough one for them to win with Brett Hundley.
But Noah, for some reason, thinks Brett Hundley is going to beat the Panthers, which
is delusional because
all of us smart analysts here at the Vikings
that Panthers game is so big for so many reasons. First of all, if the Panthers can win, that knocks Detroit or the Green Bay pretty much out of the picture because they're going to have too many losses to make the playoffs in a crowded NFC race this year. But also, the Panthers are one of the primary people who are going to be challenging the Packers for that wild card seed.
Yes, Nathan, I think the Panthers will get in the end, but the Seahawks, they had their big win against the Eagles last night, and that's not just big because it makes us first place in the NFC right now. That's big because it provides more separation between Seattle and Green Bay. Remember, the New York Yankees, the Green Bay Packers, they're basically the same thing as the New York Yankees, just in the NFL. Everyone hates them except for a select group of people. They owe the tiebreaker over the Seattle Seahawks, so the Seahawks needed separation.
Oh, did they? Oh, yes, that's right. The Seahawks came to the Packers Stadium and
yeah, it was one of those games where the refs basically gave it to the Packers.
Yeah. Well, what game is that not when Aaron Rodgers is playing? So, at this point, honestly, I kind of want Aaron Rodgers to come back just so that we can just wreck him again because he's on a trash team and he's going to be rusty and he'll throw like 2 picks and they just get destroyed, and it'll be funny to watch and fun to watch.
I can't wait to watch Cam Newton dab and Superman all over them.
Yeah, and hopefully should be a good game for us Vikings fans, and the Seattle game and the Philadelphia game was just huge last night because, like you said, it put separation between them and Green Bay, and it's getting us closer to and now over the Philadelphia Eagles, and hopefully we can continue to distance ourselves by continuing to win while the Eagles continue to lose as they finally face good teams for the first time in their entire season.
Oh, hallelujah. They are going to get exposed as overrated. But I think a key, Nathan, in the playoffs that'll show up, one, Seattle's pass rush got to Philadelphia last night. And you know whose pass rush is better than Seattle's or on par? Ours.
No, better. Way better.
Better, yeah. Okay.
Their pass rush, honestly, they have Michael Bennett, who is now not as good as he was. And the rest of them, decent, but not great.
And you know who has a better secondary for sure? Us.
Yes, that's without a doubt. Their secondary is abysmal, and yet Carson Wentz still could do nothing. And if you think Seattle Stadium is hostile, try coming to U.S. Bank and see what happens to you.
Please. They may have the 12th man, but we have the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, 16th, yada, 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 100th man.
Well, you forget about the 101st, Dirk. That one's the really important one.
Oh, yeah, we can't leave that person out.
Well, it was a good week for the Vikings on so many different levels. And if we continue to win, we are going to, without a doubt, have the first seed in the playoffs. And now it's time to hear what nice things we can say about this week, and certainly there are very many. And now it's time for Nice Words with Isaac.
Hello again from Isaac Logeman, back here to do Nice Words with Isaac. Now, last week I focused on Pat Shurmur and our offense, how they've really been stepping up this year, and their improvement from last year is incredible. And that was kind of an overall thing, and I'm doing the same thing this week because so much is going well for the Vikings. You can't just focus on one player each game because everything is just clicking and we're on top of the world right now. And so this week, I am dedicating my Nice Words with Isaac segment to Mike Zimmer. In the wake of the firing of Ben McAdoo and some other coaching stresses around the league, I am so thankful that we snagged Mike Zimmer out of the coaching pool about 4 years ago. He has been a world-changing presence in our organization, and he has taken this franchise from a middling, decent, not too great organization franchise for the last 10-ish years. I mean, besides Brett Favre that 1 year, to a very, very legitimate force in both the NFC and the NFL. And what I really respect about Mike Zimmer is he gains the respect of the players. And that's a weird thing to say I respect, but I love how the players respond and buy into his message. Every week you see them saying, Coach Zim, he's amazing, he's working us hard, he's doing great things, and we really buy into the system. And every week I see the players believing more and more in what Mike Zimmer has created here. He's done amazing things with the defense. Always, we know the defense is incredible, but they continue to do super impressive things. But also, he's changed the dynamic of who we are. I remember, it must have been last year, I think, when we were on that little run in the beginning of the year. I should remember exactly how it went, but Zimmer said he had like a 3 or 4 step process he wanted to bring. And I remember the first step was to learn to win, just win a game. And then like the next step, I think, was learn to keep winning or how to respond to winning. And then the final step was learn how to be a champion. And last year, and through Zimmer's time, we've learned how to win. You know, we've done some of that. We've had great times. And, you know, last year, clearly, we did not know how to respond to winning. We started off 5-0. We were the Chiefs of last year. It was terrible. This year, not only have we learned how to respond to winning and keep winning, we have learned how to have a championship mindset. And that's really exciting. I think we're into the final stages of what Mike Zimmer is trying to bring this organization. And I can't wait to see what the future holds because Mike Zimmer is doing incredible things. And I think he's brought this whole team to a point where we're going to do some damage this year and in the next several years.
One thing you can never forget, Mike Zimmer will not rest until we have at least 3 Super Bowls. Okay, maybe 1.
I was thinking to say 4.
Mike Zimmer literally went blind to support this team.
That is a good point.
He is committed.
Yeah, and he truly is a great coach, and we are lucky to have him. He probably should have been given a head coaching job a long time ago, but for some reason the system just never really allowed him to rise to the top.
But the good news is that we've fulfilled his lifetime dream.
Yeah, and he loves
giving him a head coaching job.
Yeah, he is loving it. He is loving every second of it. And hopefully he's training his son to be the next great Minnesota Vikings head coach.
Really? Would that be exciting to you?
Yeah, his coach is, he coaches the linebackers on the Vikings.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Adam Zimmer?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. All right, well, now it's time for, the dumb play of the week. Play that was so stupid, egregious, and horrible, it just has to be called out. And I'm going to be honest, hard to pick one out this week, but as Dirk and I were talking, I decided, the play that was so bad was a play that, was not Adam Thielen's fault because he literally got wide open. But Case Keenum, who has, for the most part, done a good job of having his eyes downfield, but boy, oh boy, did he miss this one. Adam Thielen breaks wide open. Honestly, he throws that ball, Adam Thielen catches it, it's probably a touchdown. And Case Keenum doesn't see him. And I think he just threw it away on that play. And wow, what a disaster. Thankfully, we still came out with a win despite all those missed points on that play. And, that was the best I could do for this week. Because it was, to be honest, quite a good game. Quite a good game.
Not many bad plays on our side.
No, not at all.
And again, with Case missing downfield, but 15 for 15 to end the game, 13 for 13 second half.
That's what we said about Bradford last year, too.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, he had a good game, and he finished well.
When did Teddy Bridgewater win 8 straight games?
When he started for the first time?
That actually might have been true.
Yeah.
He did not win 8 straight games.
I think he got close.
Absolutely not. We have not. This is the first time. This is the first time we've won 8 straight games since 1998.
Yeah, but Case Keenum has not been the starter for 8 straight games.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been in 7.
So I'm pretty sure Teddy Bridgewater won at least 7 in a row. I think you can look it up.
No way. I'm checking right now. There's no way he ever won 7.
Well, as we randomly get into a Teddy Bridgewater argument here that I started.
Well, actually, I'm glad we're talking about Teddy. I think our ideal case scenario right now, we win the Carolina Panther game, but Case Keenum throws 3 interceptions.
We're not beating the Carolina Panthers if that happens.
And Nathan, if we do beat Carolina and he throws 3 picks, Case Keenum is starting against the Bengals.
No, that's what I'm saying. They might give Teddy Bridgewater a shot.
No chance. If Case Keenum beats the Carolina Panthers
and looks
for our
horrible.
9th straight win, he has the job.
My bad. Sorry. If Case Keenum can just hurt himself so that he's out for the Bengals.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
I just do not trust him into the playoffs.
Hey, he hasn't turned the ball over in 3 weeks.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you this. I'll trust him for the rest of this season. I don't want him to be our long-term option. And
That's
if
fair.
he wins us a Super Bowl this year, they might have to sign him long-term.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. Because
So
I don't think he has
win...
this many more years of playing like this.
So you don't want to win the Super Bowl?
No, I want us to win the Super Bowl. Just not with Case Keenum.
Good luck with that. Anyway... But something that we'll need good luck with is predicting this game between Carolina and Minnesota. Next week, we travel to Carolina. It's the final of what we thought was probably one of the tougher 5-game stretches.
I mean, probably of any team in the NFL, this was one of the hardest 4-game stretches at all. And now after this road win, we have 2 more home games and then 1 more away at the Green Bay Packers, who hopefully will be completely out of the playoff picture by that point and fighting for a good draft pick.
And you know, Nathan, I said coming into this stretch that if we won 2 or 3 games, I'd be satisfied. Well, we've won 4, so I'm very satisfied, but I'm looking for a 5th one. And looking at this Carolina team, you know, they have an effective, balanced attack on the offensive side of the football. And I'm speaking like that because we're playing in Carolina. Anyway...
We could stop that. We could stop that accent if we wanted.
Yes, and I'm going to right now.
Oh, perfect.
You know, Carolina has a good rushing attack, 128 yards running on the ground, about average a game. You know, Cam Newton, Jonathan Stewart looked a little banged up against the Saints, and the entire team honestly didn't look that great against the Saints in the Superdome. They got exposed kind of on the defensive side of the ball, I'd say, Nathan.
Yeah, and here's my thing about the Carolina Panthers, and I said this last week. They have been, in a way, kind of like the reverse Chicago Bears, where they play teams kind of close, but the Carolina Panthers actually have been pulling out close wins. And so that's why they're the reverse Chicago Bears, because their record shows a winning record. But Cam Newton has not had that many great games this season and has been very pick-prone, especially when under pressure. He does not make good decisions. And he's going to be under pressure. I mean, Matt Khalil on Everson Griffin. Who do you think's going to win that battle?
Everson by a lot!
Everson Griffin is going to feast on Matt Khalil and thereby on Cam Newton. I don't think it's going to be a great game for them.
Yeah, Carolina...
Unless they play it the way Atlanta played this week. And we didn't get any sacks this week, but that doesn't really mean that we had a bad game on the defensive front.
But that would require them to have a quick release pass game, which Cam Newton has never been good at.
And Mike Zimmer knows the formula to beat them. Remember, we, with a worse-off team, did this a year ago.
We absolutely demolished them, though you could say that was right before we had all the injuries. But I still think our team is better than they were last year. By far.
Clearly.
I mean, we are the first place operation in the NFC.
Clearly, Nathan. Xavier Rhodes is going to be on Devin Funchess, but besides Devin Funchess, Greg Olson's rusty. Ed Dixon's decent.
Is Greg Olson even going to play?
I think I heard yes. But here's the thing. I mean, they don't have a great receiving core. We have a great secondary to shut down. And you're right. Newton has 11 interceptions on the year, and they're -6 in the turnover ratio. If anything saves them, it's going to be the defense, giving up 19.8 points per game, but they're 8th in passing yards allowed and 4th in rush yards allowed. But, you know, Nathan, our Vikings defense is 2nd in rush yards allowed, 2nd in points allowed. And offensively, we're running it for about 125 yards a game as well. So, fairly even matchup. It's a toss-up.
Yeah, it's a very, very important game for the Vikings to show once again that they're good to go on the road. Mike Zimmer, he has a formula down to beat every quarterback, really. And you've seen, as we mentioned about the quick pass game, we've seen that teams that don't want to get sacked a lot, they have to adopt that strategy. And Cam Newton has never really been that good at giving accurate passes with the quick pass game. So it could be a big game for sacks. We could see Cam Newton get hit by Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks a few times as he tries to escape the pocket. I don't know, and could be a big game for turnovers as well.
Yeah.
Well, and I think why I'm so confident going into this game, and I am weirdly, because most of the year I haven't been confident, but right now I just feel really strong, is we're so balanced, and I think we can play a lot of kinds of games. And whatever Carolina tries to bring at us, I feel confident that we can adapt what we need to do to win the game. I think that's all year we've been doing is we just do what we need to do to win games. This week we needed defense, and they did it. The offense didn't get 20 points, but we won, because defense showed up. And in Washington, the offense showed up. We've had games where it got really important turnovers, and we respond to what we need to do. And I think Carolina doesn't have the all-around strength to counter everything we can bring at them.
And the thing also is, I think the key to this game will be clogging the middle, making sure McCaffrey and Stewart don't have big holes, but also while you clog the middle, make sure there's a couple guys that can contain Cam Newton, because he is dangerous when he takes off and runs.
Yeah, and he's just as dangerous as ever at that, though he might be just a wee bit slower than when he first came in the NFL. He is also especially dangerous at the goal line, an element we really have not had to deal with too much this year in the quarterbacks that we have faced, and so we'll have to watch that as well. And I think Christian McCaffrey might regret ever coming to the NFL this game. I think it'll be a rough one for him against big ol' Anthony Barr, as he constantly gets swung outside of the pocket to do screens and the this and that's where he gets the momentum and just starts going. He better watch out for Anthony Barr this game.
I wouldn't be shocked that when Everson or Daniil tries to slow down his momentum by chipping him a little bit, I wouldn't be shocked if he just falls down.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little guy. Big muscles, though.
Big muscles, small man. Just like you. Right?
Sure, Dirk.
I don't know. I'm trying to give you a compliment there.
All right, let's take a time out from our discussion of this Carolina and Vikings game to look ahead at another interesting game in the NFL. The Browns versus the Packers.
Boys, I'm going to do something that some people are going to call crazy. Josh Gordon had 4 catches for 82 yards and his return against a secondary that is good in Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers, who have a good offense, got held to 19 points by the Browns defense in Los Angeles. And I know Los Angeles doesn't have the best home field advantage, but still Cleveland going on the road. Anyway, Cleveland has a solid defense. They have a solid run game, and they have a solid receiving core against the bad secondary.
And Hugh Jackman wants to keep his job.
It's at home in Cleveland. I'm going there. Give me the Browns in my upset pick.
Yes, please. I think that the Browns might just be looking at their first win of the season. The pieces are aligning. The Packers are just getting a little bit too confident. They think they're going to make the playoffs. And it's time that those hopes get dashed in the most disappointing of ways for their fans.
And listen to what, for last point, Isaac, I'll let you get here. Tampa Bay got gashed in the run game by Green Bay, but Cleveland has a better run defense, and Brett Hundley only threw for 84 yards on a Tampa Bay pass defense that I don't think is as good as a Cleveland pass defense based on what we saw when we played them and through other games of the year statistically wise. That's why I think Green Bay is on upset alert, and as you know, upsets do happen.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Isaac?
I think the Packers will probably take it, but I could see the upset. However, part of me wants to see the Packers run the table and miss the playoffs because
there we go.
I think they probably have there's a decent chance that they wouldn't make it at 10-6.
Can they lose the game to us?
What?
Can they lose the game to us and not run the table?
Yeah. You're right. I wouldn't want them to beat us, but I'm just saying, even if they run the table, I think that they probably would miss the playoffs because you got some really strong teams. I think
at 10-6,
I think the Falcons can push 11-5.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about the NFC South race. Why it's so crazy right now. because they are all playing each other like mad
That's true.
over the next few weeks. I don't even know if statistically it's possible for all three of those teams to be over 10 wins the amount of times they're playing each other in the next few weeks. I don't know.
But you take
I think they
Saints, Falcons, Panthers, choose 2, and Seahawks. I think they could do that. I think they could get in.
I don't think the Falcons are going to make it. They have to play the New Orleans Saints twice, and they have to play the Carolina Panthers.
I don't understand how the Saints play the Falcons twice in the last 4 weeks of the season. I thought they were supposed to be better spaced out than that.
Because National Football League.
Yeah, very, very weird. Very interesting. All right, on to our picks and predictions for this game. Dirk, why don't you start us off?
Sure, I'll start us off. I'm going to say that, I haven't had a bold prediction be right yet.
I don't think any of us have.
But you know what? I strive sometimes to be the first. I'm going to say that...
This is in addition to your Browns-Packers pick as well.
Yeah,
that was
is
just
addition.
a bonus one this week.
That was a very big bonus. We're allowing bonuses here. I'm going to say that... I'm going to say the run game goes for over 150. The Panthers got gashed by the Saints. I think we do it as well. I'm going to say Murray as an individual gets over 150, 2 touchdowns.
Oh, wow. Not only are we going over 150, one individual is going to rush for over 150. I think over 150 for Latavius Murray would be a single game record for him.
Probably. And I'm also going to say Vikings 27, Panthers 20.
There you have it. Dirk says that we're going to rush for over 150 yards with one guy, and yet we're going to win 27 to 20.
Well, we're running so much, the pass game's not going to have a ton, and I'm not saying that, and I think it's going to be close because it's at Carolina. There's no way they get blown.
Okay. Isaac.
I am foreseeing a big week this week. I don't think we're going to drop this one. We're on a really big roll here. We're confident. The players are confident. Case Keenum is playing like a madman and a leader. People are really buying into the system, and I think we're gonna roll this week and continue our streak and put it to 9 games in a row. My bold prediction is I think for the second straight week we prevent the Panthers from getting into the end zone.
Oh.
They will get 4 field goals. They'll have a lot of drives that just stall right at the end. So I think we'll pull out a win here of 24-12.
All right, kind of a fun prediction there from Isaac. I could definitely see that one happening. Almost not even bold at all. But we'll give it to you, Isaac. We will allow you to make that prediction.
Thank you. 1-1-1.
All right, so, I'm at the point in the Viking season where I hate to say this, but I could honestly see us winning out. I think it's very large possibility, Dirk.
Yeah, that's all. It is a possibility, but first I'd say we have to win this game to win out.
Yeah, this is a must-win.
If we want to win out.
If we want... Wait, are you saying
I think we have to... If we don't win this game, we're not going to win out. I think it's going to be too hard. It's over.
You know what Dirk just said?
Yeah, oh, God, that was stupid comment of the day.
If we want to win out, we have to win this game.
That was stupid comment of the day.
Well, Dirk, yes, by the definition of winning out, we would have to win this game.
Hey, I'm still better than Skip Bayless and Max Kellerman.
Yeah, those two are a bunch of idiots.
But, what I'm trying to say is I don't think this is a must-win. I think this is looks good if we win, but I think we're going to win our last 3 no matter what. So.
And to be honest, it's so weird right now as a fan of the Vikings, who's been a fan through some tough times. I mean, even recently with Frazier, when just some years that weren't fun to watch. It's weird to be in a state where we're literally the number 1 seed in the NFC through 13
and we're
weeks.
having trouble trusting that. I think the Vikings give us a
second. Give me a second.
Oh, well, you're kind of trotting on my pick time.
Oh, you're right. Well, you started the conversation, so just give me one more second, all right?
All right.
But
Isaac has gone off a little bit of a tailwind here. But.
It's tangent. I don't think it's necessarily the best thing to go into the postseason on 12 straight wins. I think that's like a lot of times that much success can be tough. So part of me wants to see us take take one loss this Final 4 games. So I was going to ask you, if we take a loss, where and when do you think it'll be, or do you want it to be?
I'd rather have it be now.
Carolina?
Yeah. I'd rather have it be now.
I think it should be Cincinnati. I mean, it's AFC team. It's an AFC team.
No,
That's at
Doesn't
home.
matter.
That's at home.
we're not going to lose to Cincinnati. There's just no way.
I
That's
just
a point
don't
of
know
pride
if
for
going
Mike
in
Zimmer
12.
because that's his old team and he has to beat them.
That's true.
But this week, we want to hear Nathan's pick.
Yeah, so
And then Dirk, I just wanted to. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. You go for it.
it's really hard for me. I think I have to pick the Vikings again this week because they're going to prove why they're the best team in the NFC. But it's going to be really hard for them to lose one if they win this week. I think they'll probably win out. Their last three teams are just such trash.
Okay, so what's your score and what's your bold prediction?
Okay, so my bold prediction this week. Last week I did the turnovers one, and I'm going to do it again. And it was wrong last week, but I'm telling you, a turnover game is coming where we're going to have three turnovers again like Jameis Winston. And Cam Newton is prone to turnovers, as we know. I think we get 3 picks. I think Xavier Rhodes gets 1. I think Harrison Smith gets his 4th. And I think Everson Griffin gets a pick 6.
So what's the final score then?
Final score, Vikings 30, Panthers 18.
Oh, that's like the closest score Nathan's had in weeks.
No, last week was 6 points.
Thank you, Isaac.
Which, to be fair, was pretty close.
Sorry, Nathan, I forgot it was 6 points.
Nathan is good at predicting games. Don't you ever forget it. All right.
Hey, who called the Lions loss? Oh, wait, no. We
Not you. Not you.
Idiots.
Not you. Not you.
Claimed the Lions were going to win, and boy, oh boy, was he wrong.
Yes, I
Not
was.
you.
Yes, all right. So that's all we have for you guys this week. Thank you for tuning in to Vikings Rant heading into Week 14 of the NFL. Hopefully another W for the Minnesota Vikings follows this week, and hopefully we continue to hold on to this win streak. But also, as Isaac said, hopefully that doesn't quote-unquote jinx us going into the playoffs. Thank you for listening. I'm Nathan Schulte.
I'm Dirk Umbenhauer.
And I'm Isaac Logeman.
And we will see you next week.